the other reason that they give for it was, of course, energy security.
What?
You know, there's a lot of talk about energy security now because we currently are using a lot of gas from Russia.
Sorry, but we get energy security by giving the Chinese money so that EDF, a French company, can build a new nuclear power plant in our backyard.
Well, yeah.
I'm not seeing the security in that.
I think a lot of people were quite shocked when a Chinese state corporation stepped in, because that doesn't sound like security. Now, some of that, admittedly, will just be good old-fashioned jingoism and paranoia about China, you know. But the reality is China is a totalitarian police state. They don't have accountability and transparency to their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And they will have a very large stake in what is still essentially a nuclear weapons factory.
Mm-hmm.
We will be counting on them to be transparent and to comply with regulations. And more than that, we're counting on them to do that for the next 200 years. And it's early days, but we have no idea what our relationship is going to be with China in the next 20 years, let alone
France, for that matter.
Or France, for that matter.
Even though we've agreed to share nuclear aircraft carriers. And
yeah. Well, as I say, looking at the world now, we don't know for sure which way it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, although I'm an optimist and I believe we can transform the world and make it a sustainable existence for humanity, there's a possibility that we won't, and that things will fragment and deteriorate. And I think that anyone now has to, making policy decisions, has to build resilience into those decisions. That the wisest thing to do is create systems which are resilient at every level, so that if it fails at that level, every community can still produce energy. And if some of the communities are wiped out, there's still others that can produce energy. Nuclear is still centralised energy. It's a totally unaccountable form of energy because it has to be. I mean, I don't think necessarily that nuclear should be transparent, because I understand that it's a security risk for it to be transparent. You can't have people freely walking in and helping themselves in nuclear power stations. They have to be under a kind of semi-military regime. Because they're so dangerous.
Yeah, sure.
But because of that, that just compounds the danger, because then you have a situation where we, the people, cannot get a democratic accountability over that situation. And where if they decide, as regularly happens, as it does in any industry, if they decide there's been a cock-up and they better cover it up, it'll be a long time before we find out, and the damage will be done.
Yeah, there was an MEP report that came out in 2009.
Yeah.
And said that for the 7-year period between 2002 and 2009, when the report was commissioned by a member of the European Parliament, a British member of the European Parliament, there had been 1,750 mishaps, leaks, or accidents at the nuclear power plants in this country alone.
Yeah.
And I was like so shocked when I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the reason why all this information was kept secret was because they didn't want the public to be concerned about nuclear energy.
Yeah.
How's that for a
They don't want to scare us.
You know, I feel so much better about it.
They don't want to scare us.
Really, I do.
Yeah.
Not.